Today's song is composed on Swami Vivekananda. This is composed by Swami Abhedananda. Please sing along with me the two lines. Moder Vivekananda tumigo, Vishwa Vivekananda. স্বদেশ বিদেশ উজ্জ্বলি উঠিছে তোমার নবীন তন্ত্র, আকাশ বাতাস দুনিয়া তুলিছে তোমার মহন মন্ত্র। স্বদেশ বিদেশ উজ্জ্বলি উঠিছে তোমার নবীন তন্ত্র, আকাশ বাতাস দুনিয়া তুলিছে তোমার মহন মন্ত্র। নন্দিত ধরা মন্দির মাঝে ধর্মের সকগন্ধ, মোদের বিবেকানন্দ তুমি বিশ্ব বিবেকানন্দ, মোদের বিবেকানন্দ তুমি গো বিশ্ব বিবেকানন্দ। অরুণ কিরণ উজ্জ্বলি উঠিছে, অরুণ কিরণ উজ্জ্বলি উঠিল উদিলে যেদিন বঙ্গে, স্বর্গ করিল সুরভি বৃষ্টি বরষিয়া আশিস সঙ্গে। অরুণ কিরণ উজ্জ্বলি উঠিল উদিলে যেদিন বঙ্গে, স্বর্গ করিল সুরভি বৃষ্টি বরষিয়া আশিস সঙ্গে। প্রেমের পুণ্য প্রবাহে সাজিলে গৌর নিত্যানন্দ, মোদের বিবেকানন্দ তুমি গো বিশ্ব বিবেকানন্দ, মোদের বিবেকানন্দ তুমি গো বিশ্ব বিবেকানন্দ। দুলোকের ছবি এরিলে পুলকে গুরুর চরণ তলে, আতের সেবা মূর্তে আনিলে ভাসিয়া নয়ন জলে। দুলোকের ছবি এরিলে পুলকে গুরুর চরণ তলে, আরতের সেবা মূর্তে আনিলে ভাসিয়া নয়ন জলে। বিশ্ব প্রেমের বিকাশিত খনি চিত্তে হর্ষ নন্দ, মোদের বিবেকানন্দ তুমি গো বিশ্ব বিবেকানন্দ, মোদের বিবেকানন্দ তুমি গো বিশ্ব বিবেকানন্দ। ভূদরে সাগরে গহনে কাননে জাপিলে কত না নিশি, তুষার হিমানি গিরি কন্দর ভ্রমিলে কত না দিশি। ভূদরে সাগরে গহনে কাননে জাপিলে কত না নিশি, তুষার হিমানি গিরি কন্দর ভ্রমিলে কত না দিশি। অঙ্কুর পুন শঙ্কর জ্ঞানে শাকের দেগান মানি স্নিগ্ধ ভাবের শক্তি মাধুরী মুগ্ধনুতন ছন্দ মোদের বিবেকানন্দ তুমি গো বিশ্ব বিবেকানন্দ মোদের বিবেকানন্দ তুমি গো বিশ্ব বিবেকানন্দ শিকাগো সঙ্গে সঙ্গীত তব শীর্ষে উঠিল ভাসি শুনিল বিশ্ব শুনিল নিঃস্ব শুনিল প্রাসাদ বাসী শ্রীজিলে শ্রীমঠ কুঞ্জ কুটির তীর্থ মুখরানন্দ মোদের বিবেকানন্দ তুমি গো বিশ্ব বিবেকানন্দ মোদের বিবেকানন্দ তুমি গো বিশ্ব বিবেকানন্দ মোদের বিবেকানন্দ তুমি গো বিশ্ব বিবেকানন্দ।
I'm reading from the book Vivekananda, The Man and His Message by his Eastern and Western disciples. The chapter is the significance of his life and work. Of the bodily presence of him who was known to the world as Vivekananda, all that remains today is a bowl of ashes. The light that had burned in seclusion during the last 5 years of our riverside has gone out now. The great voice that rang out across the nation is hushed in death. Life had come often to this mighty soul as storm and pain, but the end was peace. Silently, at the close of evensong, on a dark night of Kali, came the benediction of death. The weary and tortured body was laid down gently, and the triumphant spirit was restored to the eternal samadhi. Eternal success and leadership were nothing to such a man. During his years in the West, he made rich and powerful friends who would gladly have retained him in their midst. But for him, the Occident, with all its luxuries, had no charms. To him, the garb of a beggar, the lanes of Calcutta, and the disabilities of his own people were more dear than all the glory of the foreigner. And detaining hands had to lose their hold of one who passed ever onward towards the east. He told no personal story. One whom he knew and trusted long had never heard that he held any position of distinction amongst his Guruvais. He made no attempt to popularize with strangers any single form or creed, whether of God or of Guru. Rather, through him, the mighty torrent of Hinduism poured forth its cooling waters upon the intellectual and spiritual worlds, fresh from its secret source in the Himalayan snows. A witness to the vast religious culture of Indian homes and holy men, he could never cease to be. Yet, he quoted nothing but the Upanishads. He taught nothing but the Vedanta. And men trembled for they heard the voice for the first time of the religious teacher who feared not truth. Do we not all know the song that tells of Shiva as he passes along the roadside? Some say he is mad, some say he is devil, some say, don't you know, he is the Lord himself? In such a man, it may be that we possess the whole Vedas of the future. We must remember, however, that the moment has not come for gauging the religious significance of Vivekananda. Here was a mind that had unique opportunities of observing the people of many countries intimately. East and West he had seen and have been received by the high and low alike. His brilliant intellect had never failed to gauge what it saw. America will solve the problems of the Shudra, but through what awful turmoil, he said many times. To him, India was Hinduistic, Aryan, and Asiatic. Her youth might make her own experiments in modern luxury. Had they not the right? Would they not return? But the great deeps of her being were moral, austere, and spiritual. A people who could embrace death by the Ganga side were not long to be distracted by the glamour of mere mechanical power. Buddha had preached renunciation, and in 2 centuries, India had become an empire. Let her but once more feel the great pulse through all the veins, and no power on earth would stand before her newly awakened energy. Only it would be in her own life that she would find life, not in any imitation from her own proper past and environment that she would draw inspiration, not from any foreigner. For he who thinks himself weak is weak. He who believes that he is strong is already invincible. And so for his nation, as for every individual, Vivekananda had but only one word, one constantly reiterated message: awake, arise, struggle not, and stop not till the goal is reached. Yes.
Now a short period of meditation. Good morning, friends, and Happy New Year to you all whom I meet after the New Year. Those I met on 1st January on Kalpataru Day, again Happy New Year. And today's talk is Swami Vivekananda, the benchmark. You must have heard from the song, though it was in Bengali, it was always describing description of Swamiji and his contribution by his own brother monk who preached Vedanta in New York in the West for 21 years, Swami Abhedananda. And also he is the only one brother monk of Swami Vivekananda who visited Canada. He had come to Toronto, Swami Abhedananda, when he was in New York, many years ago, of course. Swamiji's birthday is on 14th of January. He was born on 12th of January English calendar. According to the lunar calendar, or the Tithi as we call, it falls this year on 14th of January, Saturday. We are celebrating his birthday that day. So we thought of something, thinking about Swami Vivekananda, contemplating on his great life, and which gives us strength and power and love and knowledge. All those are in that name, Swami Vivekananda, because he is pure, he is power, energy, love and knowledge. Swami Vivekananda is the benchmark of what? Benchmark of everything that he represented. He was a superhuman being, as it were. Sri Ramakrishna saw in a vision that he was one of the rishis who was meditating in the high regions and high heavens, and he came to this world to remove the afflictions and give knowledge to the people. That was the mystical vision of Sri Ramakrishna about his own disciple. If we don't like to believe that mystic, go on practical and reasoning, then also the life of Swami Vivekananda showed us benchmark in many ideals. His benchmark is like the reference point, like from which you can judge where we have to reach, what we need to achieve. That is like the point of reference. That is Swami Vivekananda. In what respect? In all respects, Swami Vivekananda is known world over as an orator, super excellent orator. His oration, his talk in Parliament of Religions made him famous all over the world instantly. That was just one aspect of his life, one phase of his many facets of his life. But that is quite well known how he expressed without any preparation the very first lecture in the Parliament of Religions. We do not know that before that also he gave many lectures. He had given excellent lectures somewhere in Anisquam where he gave. In India he spoke with in the parlors to the kings and the people and to the great ministers there, wise ministers, and all were very highly impressed with what he said. But he became famous with the Parliament of Religions as a great orator. What was so important in his words that the first lecture was hardly 2 minutes when he started with the sisters and brothers of America and said few incidents and said the glory of India and glory of most ancient monastic order. What was that so very different that it changed, as it were, the very brought energy so much into the mankind, and especially India? What was that in that small lecture? There was so much praise. And still, perhaps that is the only lecture, somebody gave one lecture in 1893, and is still celebrated. That lecture, 11 September 1893, still celebrated among his followers in whole of India, that it is this time here of centenary of Parliament of Religions, centenary of Swamiji's lecture in Chicago in 1893. Just one lecture being celebrated by a whole country, by a whole community. So what power was there in that oratory, in that oration? So what was that? Swamiji was a great thinker, and he is thinking was great, and his heart was large. Both brought together such a personality which made him irresistible for the people to follow, to understand, to admire, and to get inspiration who really admire. That was the power of Swami Vivekananda's oratory. Apart from the beauty and richness of his thought and his fiery eloquence, there was the genuine sincerity in what he spoke. That was the main thing. He spoke from the heart. What he felt that he spoke. His Guru Sri Ramakrishna used to say, make your thought and your speech one. What you think that you speak. What you speak should come from your heart, and on which you really believe that to be the real thing. That you speak. This combination of heart and thinking brain, and that when the combination of powerful thinking and that empowered with the feeling, when they came out from the mouth of this pure personality, divinely ordained personality, it became so powerful that we still remember his words. Somebody wrote about his lecture, where other would walk of ways and means, he knew how to light a fire. Where others gave directions, he would show the thing itself. He would make it, he would present it what he was saying. It came evident. Sometimes they say people, when you in some nice country, the person was so good. When I asked to how I can go to that place, and not only that person said go straight and turn right and then go ahead and like that, but that person himself walked with me to show the door. How kind that person was to come to me and taking the trouble to help me. That was Swami Vivekananda. He not only guided, he took you to the place where he wants you to go. Where you want to go, where he wants you to go. So Bipin Chandra Pal was a great Indian savant. He said, he opened the eyes of the audience and broadened their hearts. So it was not just listening through the ears, it went direct straight to his heart, people's heart, audience heart. And then their hearts were broadened and their mind was enlightened. That's why they could see, open the eyes. Otherwise, why would people just applaud 2 minutes just listening, hearing the words sisters and brothers of America? 5 simple words, not very unique, not unheard of. Many people said, ladies and gentlemen, some said brother and sister, in very parliament, because Swamiji was the last speaker. Before that whole day the proceeding was going on. And what was miracle in this word that has been heard by the people, it is not uncustomary, and people rose like one whole audience of 6,000 people, it rose on feet and applauded for full 2 minutes. What was the magic in that? It was the magic was not in words, magic was in the person's feeling. When he said sisters and brothers, he felt that everyone sitting in front of him is his own sister and brother. Not only that, he made everyone feel that whole humanity is my sister and brother. So powerful were this speech, a few words, that everyone could feel we are all one, we are all sisters and brothers, we are all related, we are all, whole humanity is one family. To make one feel with few words, that was the power of the oration of Swami Vivekananda. I would really like to say it was more than oration, power of oration, it was the power of the person that he spoke. Power of the purity of that person, that was Swami Vivekananda. After that, his lectures were read. There were many sessions in Parliament from 11 September to 27 September, and he spoke 5 or 6 talks on alternate days. On other days he gave And after that, he was become so famous that people wanted him to give talk in many places, in parlors. The lecture bureau hired him, and he was traveling in America from one place to another. People used to come and announce that Swami Vivekananda giving talk. Halls used to be full to listen to the spiritual and religious talks. People used to be outside, tickets would be all sold because the lecture bureau was selling the ticket. That Swami, it was against the norm of in India giving the knowledge. We don't. It is not ticketed. It is just given freely. Knowledge is to be given free. So Swami Vivekananda later broke from the contract, paid some money for that because it was too much for him, and started giving lectures freely himself. And that was the crowd in that hall. Everyone admired his speech. And great people came to that. One of the people who came to listen to Swami Vivekananda's lecture was Tesla, the scientist who made electricity, AC, alternative current. And that scientist used to come and all had sat a little late and always used to stand near the door and listen to what Swami Vivekananda is talking, especially on, he liked the theory of Akasha and Prana, that material and energy interacting together and forming the creation that was in the Vedas. What Swami Vivekananda spoke was not about himself or any narrow thing. He spoke about the wisdom of the East, about the truths of Vedanta, of the very ancient teachings of that India carried. His was not narrow, some teaching, some sectarian views or nothing. It was all very ancient and well-known views in India that was brought and spoken and made simpler way and spread, and it was given to all the people of the world. There is one family in Brazil whose surname is Vivekananda, and that person is Brazilian. Now it's strange how this Brazilian person, some Portuguese speaking person has the Vivekananda surname. So we guess, we don't know the thing, we guess that some of their person might have come to the Parliament of Religions and attended this, was impressed by Vivekananda so much that he adopted the surname Vivekananda. As you know, in Russia, when Indira Gandhi was there, many girls, newborn girls, were named after Indira Gandhi. Indira name is quite popular in Russia, they say. Like that, that might be the case of the power of Vivekananda was so much. Still that Vivekananda surname is there. So Professor Horowitz sums up Swamiji's oration, what Swamiji had to say. I have no temple and no creed. I celebrate no mystic rite. The human heart is all I need for. I have found God ever there. Love is the one sufficient area, and comradeship a purest prayer. That's what he said. Love is the creed and comradeship is the prayer. That was the basis of Swami Vivekananda's lectures and speeches. And it's not the benchmark that will ever be broken when a person tries to speak, that he has set the ideal. When we speak, it should be from the heart, and it should be for the good of the people, with the intention of good of the people, and it should be forceful, based on some truth. It should be truthful, as it is said. Speak truth and speak what is beneficial, and we speak without hurting anyone. Satyam bruyat, priyam bruyat, ma bruyat, satyam apriyam. That's what it is said in our ancient wisdom. Swami Vivekananda also was a great writer. He has set benchmark there also. His works are there, 9 volumes of complete works of Swami Vivekananda. Most of these are from his lectures. But there are his writings. For example, there are letters written by him, some in English and some in Bengali. Those are the letters he has written by himself. There he wrote a paper on the Parliament of Religion. Most of them were all his lectures without any preparation, without any notes. He used to give lectures, but one of them was paper on Hinduism, which he had read, and he presented that in the Parliament of Religions. That is on 19 September 1893 in Chicago. There have been his writing in Bengali, many articles. He started writing in the language, spoken language. Bengali has two types of language, spoken language and written language. Nowadays, mostly it is written in the spoken language. But it is said that Swami Vivekananda was the one in the beginning who started writing in the spoken language. What they speak, they write. Otherwise, they have separate writing for the writing language, and the spoken language is different. And the spoken language has overtaken the written language. Now the writing language is published as the editorial of newspaper. Otherwise, whole newspaper, whole novels, everything is written in the spoken language called Cholit Bhasha. It is the Cholit Bhasha. And that is called Sadhu Bhasha, that is written language. So Swami Vivekananda started that, they say, writing prose in Cholit Bhasha. He wrote in Hindi, one poem he wrote in Hindi also, and he wrote in Sanskrit many stotras he has written, and English, there are many poems he wrote in English to his Western disciples and admirers. He has written 4 books in Bengali, not very voluminous books. They are all incorporated in the complete of Swami Vivekananda. One is called Paribrajak, that is the memoirs of European travel in English translated. Bhabbar Kotha, a serious thought. Vartaman Bharat, in this translated as modern India. Prachya o Paschatya, that is called East and West. These are his writings. He wrote it for the articles for his the journal he had started. Asked Swami Trigunatithanan to start, called Udbodhan in Bengali. So for that he wrote these articles, and that has become a book, a series of articles he wrote. 4 books are there. He also edited the Raja Yoga, the lectures he gave, and he translated its aphorisms of Patanjali, and that was read by many people. He became very famous for that. Even Mahatma Gandhi read that before he became Mahatma Gandhi, when he was in England. He read that Raja Yoga. So he had been very powerful writer. His writing gives, if you read his letters, they are so powerful that you feel like something going into your veins and nerves, as Romarola says. When I read his writings and his thought, something enters into me like electric shock. But I am reading that 30 years after his speeches, after 30 years of his speaking, and still that has so much power that I feel electric shock in my veins and nerves when I read those. And he says, what would have happened when he spoke and it fell from his lips and went into the ear of the audience. He just imagines Romarola. That 30 years, now it's 100 years, but it's still 89, 99, more than 100 years and 125 years. Still we will feel this electric shock when we read Swamiji's writings, his letters, or read his lectures in complete works. So powerful are the words of Swami Vivekananda. About his English language, people used to say he almost spoke the perfect English, almost perfect English, and his pronunciation was also perfect, almost perfect. People admired his speeches here, all the newspapers they used to write. He was also a great singer, orator, thinker, writer. Such a person is singer again. And his singing, he was trained singer, and his songs were so beautiful. The recorder of recorder of the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna Yam says, Swami Vivekananda's songs which were so beautiful when he sang, so sweet. It was only second to Sri Ramakrishna's songs in beauty and sweetness. Sri Ramakrishna's song for him was the topmost. Nobody could excel that. That was the benchmark for him. But Swami Vivekananda was more versatile, and he was also a composer of songs. Our daily prayer that we sing in Ramakrishna Mission Centers, Khandana, Bhavabandhana, Jagabandhana, the song was composed by him and also set to music by him. And that was his thing. He liked the Dhrupada music tal, the powerful music was his favorite. Some power should come, some energy should be there in everything that he wanted. Swami Vivekananda's songs, whenever there was, in fact, Swamiji met Sri Ramakrishna through songs. Somebody was to come to one person's gathering where they had invited Sri Ramakrishna. And that day the person became sick. Now they found whom to call, who is the best singer. And at that time he was just a student. And they found Swami Vivekananda invited, and he sang the songs. First, Sri Ramakrishna heard Swamiji's songs. After that, few weeks after, that was the question that he heard from Swami Vivekananda, "Sir, have you seen God?" That was later. First was song he had heard from Swami Vivekananda, introducing was that. And Sri Ramakrishna asked, "Who is this boy?" And seeing Swami Vivekananda, he understood the person he saw, this person is that Rishi that has come. The songs are all set in the music, like Hindi song also said, Mujhe Vanawari Saiya Jane Ko De. He sang one like Gopis are singing for Krishna. That song he has made lyrics, and this is also set in music. He was a great singer, knew very well about the song. Sometimes Sri Ramakrishna, when he sang for Sri Ramakrishna, and Sri Ramakrishna used to go into deep samadhi. How much was the power in his song that it could transport? Of course, Sri Ramakrishna was a very highly spiritual person, but he could transport Sri Ramakrishna, who was talking with others, by that song into samadhi. Just think of the power of his song, that he had not yet become Swami Vivekananda at that time, he was just a student. But his purity, as his purity touched the heart of audience in the Parliament in Chicago in 1893, his purity through his voice in the songs touched the heart of the people, heart of Sri Ramakrishna, and used to throw him in samadhi. Everybody used to be charmed when they heard the songs sung by Swami Vivekananda. He was a great organizer, another benchmark. Great organizer. What was his capacity to organize? He came like in 30s, he was in 30s when he came here. He was a monk, no money, no people around. We started knowing him. Just 1 year of the Parliament of Religions. 1893 was Parliament of Religion. In next year, 1894, he started Vedanta Society of New York. Can you imagine one person coming from India and starting an organization, Vedanta Society of New York, in just 1 year? That was his organizing capacity. And when he went back after 3 years in 1897, he made first thing called the people, devotees and friends and his brother disciples, and he proposed for the formation of Ramakrishna Mission Association. That now today is the worldwide organization called Ramakrishna Mission and Ramakrishna Math of India, having about 200 centers in India, having about 100 centers and sub-centers in all over outside India. That big organization doing so much great spiritual and philanthropic work all over the world. We find in India and around that in Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, so much of work of service to the poor people has been done through Ramakrishna Mission. And not only in India and Bangladesh, also in the West. People run some charitable thing, something that will serve physically the people. In Lusaka in Africa, their center they used to give in COVID time so much help in food and clothing, and in many places they do that. And we also here do soup kitchen, cook food and give to the one place where all the people, needy people come and eat. That is stopped still because of that COVID thing, and we are very eager to start that. Who did all this? It was Swami Vivekananda. That was the philanthropic thing, helping people through some material. And immense more than that is the spiritual service that is done through this twin organization is called Ramakrishna Math and Ramakrishna Mission. Both are twin and they both are centered in Belur Math is the headquarters, where the trustees of the Ramakrishna Mission are the members of the managing committee of the Ramakrishna Math. Trustees of the Ramakrishna Math are the members of the managing committee of the Ramakrishna Mission. Same. But their accounts are different, their little style of work is different. All centers in the West are the branches of Ramakrishna Math. As people don't know about Ramakrishna Math here in the world, outside India, that's why we put the sign Ramakrishna Mission, because they are a twin organization. But technically it is a branch of the Ramakrishna Math, which engages more in spiritual work of disseminating the message of spirituality, which is the most important. Swamiji's power of organization was that he made the rules for Belur Math or the Ramakrishna Math and Mission. How will they run? How will people join? What should be the proper way of meditation? When he was there, he said all of us should come early in the morning to meditate. So once, like 4 o'clock was the time, they all should gather in the prayer hall to meditate. And there should be time for food, and there should be bells should ring. There were not many people, maybe 30, 40 people were there that when Swami Vivekananda went from the West and started Belur Math. Before this monastery, Ramakrishna Monastery, before that was in Alam Bazar, and in the beginning was, Genesis was in Baranagar, in Calcutta. And there were only Sri Ramakrishna direct disciples. After some time, Swami Virajanandaji joined, and after that many started coming after because of the influence of Swami Vivekananda. And that Belur Math had started becoming big. He made all the rules. That was his power of management, organization. And he said, who will be the president of the organization? Who will be the general secretary? All he decided. And he chose such a fit person for the president, Swami Brahmananda, for general secretary, Swami Sharadananda. They were just right for that purpose. Someone was sent to South India, Swami Ramakrishnananda. Very few, only 16 disciples, only few of them were able to run the centers. It was not running the center, it was starting the center, giving the message of Sri Ramakrishna. Very, very difficult work. But that was the vision of Swami Vivekananda, that Ramakrishna Math and Mission it stands today, ever spreading, doing good to the world, and giving an opportunity to do sadhana to its members. Monastic and lay, all are there for doing sadhana. The whole main purpose of the organization, the Ramakrishna Math and Mission, is Atmano Mokshartham Jagat Hitaya Cha, for one's own emancipation, liberation, attaining freedom. That is the main goal, and that has to be done by Jagat Hitaya, by doing good to the world. This great motto was also given by Swami Vivekananda. Earlier it was only Atmano Mokshartham. Do whatever is needed for emancipation. Do japam, meditate whole day, make food, and that's all. Read books, that's all. Swami Vivekananda says, that's very good, but that's not enough. You have to work for the good of society, for the good of people. Otherwise, how your spirituality will be developed? Full spiritual person has to live for others and pray to God, to live for fellow human beings and to love God. That is how the full human being will be formed. Swamiji's power of organization was that. His love for his motherland and his people, that was another benchmark. How much he loved India. He was traveling, he had not come to the West that time, and it was like 1892 or 91, and I think 92 or 93 earlier. And he, while traveling in India on foot and sometime by train, he came to Abu Road station in Western India. and he made his brother disciple, who had also gone there separately for meditation and for pilgrimage. He made him Swami Turiyananda, and he made him and said, he was just crying, and he said, Swamiji, why are you crying? He embraced Turiyananda and said, brother, I don't know anything of your religion, but believe me, my heart has enlarged and I can feel for everyone. He had the feeling for the people of his motherland so much that he says, keep religion aside, feeling for the human beings. That was great love for the people that he had when he was in India. And his love for motherland was so much that people say that he himself said, I am a condensed India, he said. His thoughts are always for India. When he was so much celebrated in the West for his wonderful parliament of religions, at night when he went there, all his situation had changed, people have recognized, now he got a good room with a nice bed and all that. But he couldn't sleep in the big thick mattress. He slept on the floor and taking the pillow, and he cried whole night. Why did he cry? He cried for his people. I am given so much honor and all that here, so much comfort here. But my people back in India are so poor, they don't have even food to eat. How will they sleep without food? And how much so difference is there? His all feeling was for his countrymen. That was his love for his motherland and his people in India. In fact, his coming to the West was to purpose. He said, I will give the wisdom of the East to the people in the West, and they will help me monetarily, and I will give that to the East in my country so that they can raise themselves, at least to have proper food to eat, little shelter to have, this exchange of intellectual knowledge, spirituality, with getting something material for the people who need, what needs, that to be given. He wanted that the first one, that giving the spirituality that worked well, but giving back to the material sustenance to the West, East, in their country, it didn't work well. But still he did that. He gave everything knowledge that was his intention for the people that he came to the West. That was his love for his country. He was a great spiritual leader. How he organized this mutt, not only that, what should be the way that the monks and brahmacharis should live, what they should study, what is the speciality of the Ramakrishna order, that he said, worship of Sri Ramakrishna, worship of God is fine, prayer, meditation is also fine, but with that, the work for the people, service. And also he said, scriptural study is very important. If we do not study scriptures, it will just become a place of worship. And said, Babaji Diger Mundi. It will be like the temple, just doing worship and rituals and feeding the Lord. Scriptural study. That was his spiritual leadership. What should be the ways that Ramakrishna Mutt will follow, its devotees will do. A great spiritual leader, because of his spiritual power, how many people followed him not only in the East, beginning from Swami Sadananda, who was an assistant station master in Hathras station, but others also in India and also in the West. All they ran to Swami Vivekananda. Sister Nivedita, Miss Elizabeth Noble was one. Xavier's, Christine, so many were there, MacLeod, all they went to because attracted by his spiritual leadership. He was a guru who taught students how they should follow the teacher. And he said to his disciples, you know how the discipleship is? You choose, first you decide whom you want to make guru or not. Once you have decided someone to be guru, fully rely on the guru. Guru, God and scriptures. That thing you have to follow their message. And how much to follow? He says, if Guru says, go and climb this palm tree and jump from there, without any questioning, you should do. The disciples should do that. That he wanted following from his disciple, and Guru would never say something that will do any harm to the disciple. So the real Guru are like that. That was Swami Vivekananda's Guru. He is said to be like Bodhisattva ideal in his Guru. He did everything for his disciples. He used to say, I love you so much. He used to really love everyone, his disciples of course. I love you so much, but still I wish you die working for others, serving others. That will make me happy, he says. Love for human beings was so much. His disciples should be a team, a group to serve the real target of his worship, the fellow human beings. That was always there. He was a fearless monk. As a monk should be that way, he had no fear at all. We know the incident that in the US, in the western or southern US, he had gone and he talked that Atman is immortal. This one should have no fear of death even, no fear of anything. And some people heard this and they tried to test him and asked him, can you please give us some talk? And there was nothing, no stage was there. It was just in the open. They put one barrel, turned upside down and said, Swami, can you speak for us? It was in Texas or somewhere. And he stood on the barrel and he started speaking something on spiritual talk or something about India. He used to love to talk about the India and its greatness of India. He never did any criticism of India in anything. He always said only good of India when he was in the West. In the West, he said, so many drawbacks you have to remove that, you have to make it glorious again. He always taught and showed to India what were our defects. So that was when he stood to work, he stood on that barrel and started speaking. Suddenly gunshots were there, coming from right and left, passing through near his ear and near his head. Swami Vivekananda continued his speech without any movement or fear. Then those people understood, yes, what he speaks, he means. That was his monastic fearlessness. And once in Pinky Meadows in England, one bull suddenly became mad, or he became excited, and there was few people who were there working with Swami Vivekananda, even didn't know them. He had been there at that meadow near that. He suddenly found people, a group was there, and one lady was there. All men, they just fled away, seeing that bull was chasing. And that lady was alone. Bull was coming with full speed to hit that lady. Swami Vivekananda ran and intervened and came in front of the bull to face all the brunt of that bull on himself. And by God's will, that bull stopped before it even hit Swami Vivekananda. Everybody praised Swamiji and asked him, Swamiji, what were you doing? What mantra you were saying? Or what were you thinking? Oh, I was just thinking, when that bull will hit me, how far will I fly? How far I will go? I was just thinking that. But no fear at all. That was the fearless monk, was Swami Vivekananda. Benchmark in everything, Swamiji. He is the benchmark for his reverence for Sri Ramakrishna and Holy Mother. He used to worship Sri Ramakrishna. His way was not ringing the bell and saying the mantra. He used to go there, take the flowers and offer that to Sri Ramakrishna. Once he had gone to worship in a devotee house, and in that he just verbatim he composed that we do at the pranam mantra, the reverence mantra for Sri Ramakrishna, sthapakaya dharmasya sarva dharma swarupine avatar varisthaya Ramakrishnaya te namah. You are the greatest of the avatars, O Sri Ramakrishna, I bow down to thee. He said verbatim, without any writing or thinking anything, in front of Sri Ramakrishna. That was so simple. Once he said to his the one who was doing worship, he said, please go outside, I want to do worship today. He went there, they just closed the door, and he offered the flower, and then he offered fruits and food. And he said, friend, come and sit down and take, this is the food he offered to you. To Sri Ramakrishna, his own Guru, his avatar, Varishta, he said, friend, come down and eat. Whatever is offered, he treated Sri Ramakrishna something like friend. To him, there was no difference between Sri Ramakrishna and Swami Vivekananda. First, when Sri Ramakrishna was training him, something Sri Ramakrishna was doing, he was smoking, and he gave to, from the same fingers, he gave to Swami Vivekananda. And Swami Vivekananda was novice, just coming to him. He said, how can I take from your finger? My lips will touch it. Then he said, don't worry, take this. And he Sri Ramakrishna's fingers, and there was hubble bubble, and Swami Vivekananda smoked from that hesitatingly. Now, to his surprise, what Sri Ramakrishna did was he took that hubble bubble with the same fingers and was going to smoke from that finger which was touched by Swami Vivekananda Narendranath's lips. Sri Ramakrishna, Swami Vivekananda jumped and caught his hand. What are you doing? You have to wash your hand. It has been turned and defiled by my lips. Sri Ramakrishna says, what are you saying? We are all one. Are you and me separate? We are all one. Sri Ramakrishna's realization. Now Swami Vivekananda realizes towards the end of his life, friend, come and sit down and eat. That was his reverence, got so deep, that avatar of Varishta, that master, I am the servant of you all, has all turned into oneness with his friend. That was Swami Vivekananda's reverence, love, oneness with Sri Ramakrishna. For Holy Mother, he used to tremble to go to Holy Mother. He used to sprinkle Ganga water when he approached Holy Mother. Holy Mother was the epitome of purity, and Swami Vivekananda just wanted to be that, and he used to go and prostrate to Holy Mother. Once he said, Swami Vivekananda, go and offer a salutation to Holy Mother. Swami Vivekananda went, he just quickly touched the ground with his forehead and was coming back quickly. So Swami Vivekananda knew that. He said, no, not that way. Come with me. You have to prostrate to this Holy Mother, and taught him how to revere Holy Mother. He said to his brother disciples, you don't know who Holy Mother is. She is the Shakti and has been born to revive the women of India. Putting her as the nucleus, India will revive. She's just a great Shakti. You don't know about her power. That will slowly, it will manifest. It will be evident. That was his reverence for Holy Mother. And he said, she is Durga. He said sometimes once Swami Vivekananda's own mother had come, Bhuvaneshwari Devi had come. And she had come with her relatives of women. And Holy Mother was also there that day, and she was very proud of her great son, which acclaimed all over the world. And he came and showed Belur Math and said to her relative Bhuvaneshwari Devi, you see, my Naren has made all this, so much this math and all that. Swami Vivekananda was there. He said, Mother, I'm sorry, it's not your Naren, it is her Naren that has made, pointing to Holy Mother Sarada Devi. He said, it is her Naren had made. He always felt that Sarada, Ma Sarada is the real mother, eternal mother, and through her grace, all the work has been done. That was his reference to Holy Mother. To conclude, his mother actually, Bhuvaneshwari Devi's advice he always followed. What Bhuvaneshwari Devi advised when he was a little kid, Bhuvaneshwari Devi had said, be pure, live a clean life, defend your dignity, and be respectful to others. Be gentle and modest, but do not hesitate to be firm when the situation requires it. That teaching of Swami Vivekananda, he never went to argument or anything about whenever people criticized him. Some people pulled his turban in the West, nothing much was there. He just said, what are you doing that much? But when he was going back to Westerners started criticizing India, he became so firm. He went to that one of them, caught his collar, one more word against my country and my religion, you will be in that deep sea. Seeing Swami Vivekananda, well-built body, he just went to the deck. went to his cabin from the deck, went away. That was the firmness of this monk, of this not hesitating when its situation required. What his mother taught, he followed his whole life. That was the personality of Swami Vivekananda. To conclude, I would like to read from Swami Sister Nivedita's saying about Swami Vivekananda's love for India. His love for India, we shouldn't forget, not only because he was born in India, and grew up in India, studied in India, but because he found the India, the whole Indian ethos, whole Indian psychology, whole Indian spirituality is to be so valuable for the world to give peace and light. That was the value of Indian spirituality he understood. That he found that deep into the heart of the people, deep into the psychology of India. That's why India became so important for him. So, and Sister Nivedita writes, India was Swamiji's, that Swami Vivekananda's greatest passion. India throbbed in his breast. India beat in his pulse. India was his daydream. India was his nightmare. Not only that, he himself became India. He was the embodiment of India in flesh and blood. He was India. He was Bharat, the very symbol of her spirituality, her purity, her wisdom, her power, her vision, and her destiny. That is Swami Vivekananda, our inspiration, our goal, and our benchmark. Thank you.